Hello everyone, welcome to another Narc Survivor live video. In this one, I'm going to be giving you the safest way to leave a narcissist. But I have to give this disclaimer. We have to keep in mind that when you're leaving a narcissist, you're never going to be 100% safe. There is no foolproof way to leave a narcissist. There is no way to completely keep yourself out of trouble after dealing with one. So please take this information with a grain of salt and don't hold me accountable for any effects that you may experience from using this information. It's for educational purposes only, and it's a guide to help you. But because I don't know about your individual situation, it's difficult for me to give you tailor-made advice. So I want you to keep that in mind as you're taking in this information. But then also, I do have a lot of experience. I've dealt with many narcissists, so I do have some idea of what is an effective way to leave a narcissist. So with that in mind, with that disclaimer out of the way, let's get into what is the safest way to leave a narcissist, knowing that there is no 100% foolproof way, and that you're bound to encounter some loss, some damage to yourself and your life. Because, I mean, that's really what we want, is we want to stay safe. We want to protect our health, our finances, our future. We want to protect the safety and the future of our children. We don't want ourselves or our children to be in harm's way when we're dealing with these types of people. And of course, if we knew what we were dealing with right from the start, then we never would have got involved with them to begin with. Unfortunately, we didn't know. And it's like you're in quicksand, or it's like the boiling frog syndrome. They turn up the heat gradually over time, and before you know it, you're stuck in an abusive relationship. You're dealing with someone who just wants to take everything you've got and destroy you. So yeah, it can be a very difficult thing to go through. And that's why I thought it'd be good to make this video speaking about what's the safest way to leave a narcissist. Because I know there's many of you out there who may be going through this right now. And of course, I mean, your lives, your futures, your children's health, safety, all of that is at risk. So this is a very serious topic to talk about, and I am going to be very careful in my delivery when I'm giving you this message. Sorry about that, the signal just cut off. Not sure what's going on. I have got full bars on the Wi-Fi. But back to it, yes, I said I want to be careful in my delivery of this message, because when we're talking about leaving a narcissist, it can be quite a dangerous situation. Of course, I want to make sure that you are safe, you are protected the best that you can be. And as I've said, I've dealt with many narcissists. I've got a lot of experience. I've done a lot of research. So I believe that by watching this video, you are in safe hands. Now, what I would say is that probably the safest time to leave a narcissist would be during the love bombing phase. So when you're just getting to know them, when they're love bombing you, that would be the safest time to leave, because at that point they haven't even devalued you. So they're still idealizing you. They haven't labeled you as the problem. And so there isn't going to be this desire for vengeance to where they're going to want to destroy you. Of course, they may want an answer, an explanation for why you're leaving them in the love bombing. And of course, any answer you give, it's likely to make them feel like there's something wrong with them, as though they're the problem. And as we know, when that happens, then they're going to come down on you like a ton of bricks. The devaluation phase will begin before you've even gotten a chance to leave. And then that puts you in a very dangerous situation. But despite that, the love bombing phase is still the safest time to leave a narcissist. And to do that, you want to just disappear like a thief in the night. Just no longer be available to them. Don't give them an explanation. Don't tell them that there's anything wrong with them. Don't reveal anything about what you think of them, and just disappear. And then you will be the one who got away. And they won't seek to hunt you down and destroy you, as they would if they felt like it was something to do with them and they were the problem. So I believe that is the safest way and the safest time to leave a narcissist. Because what it's all about is that they feel like there's something wrong with them. They weren't good enough. They caused problems for you. And they just don't want to reflect on that. So then they have to play this victim role. But then at the same time, they're also the judge, jury, and executioner. So they have to hunt you down and they have to make you pay. They have to make you face justice. Because now they've painted you as the villain. They've labeled you as this bad person to save themselves. And those of you who are in the devaluation phase, that's what you're experiencing now, is that they've painted you as this villain. They've labeled you as this bad person. And now, of course, in their minds, they're just doing what any good person would do, they think. And so they become like this vigilante, where they want to take the law into their own hands. They want to teach you a lesson, because now you're a bad person for everything that you saw wrong with them. That's why you have to be very strategic in the devaluation phase when you are trying to leave a narcissist, because you never know how they might react. You're constantly walking on eggshells around them. It's like any little thing could set them off. And they're very paranoid and hypervigilant in that moment. They're scanning your body language, facial expressions, tone of voice, to see how you're perceiving them. Because they're terrified of rejection, abandonment, especially exposure. They want to protect their false image. And they want to continue gaslighting themselves as well. So what do I suggest for those of you who are stuck in the devaluation phase, or maybe you're heading towards the discard and you're very worried about your health, your safety, your finances, your children, your future. You're worried about all of that, and you want to know, what do you need to do to protect everything, instead of everything getting harmed, everything getting destroyed. And what I would advise for you, it's based on how the narcissist is seeing everything, their thought process, and to manage that risk of a narcissistic injury. Because that's really what causes them to react in the way that they do. It's that narcissistic injury. It's the rage. So we want to maneuver around the rage. We want to prevent that from happening. And in order for us to do that, it's best to play down ourselves, minimize our own value and importance. Because that's why they're holding on to you, and that's why they will seek to destroy you, is if they view you as being more valuable or important than them. And also, of course, if they fear that rejection, abandonment, exposure, so we want to maneuver around all of that like it's a minefield. We have to go around it in order to protect ourselves. So we want to play down ourselves, act like we're incompetent, as though we're just not a good source of supply for them. We're not able to do what they want us to do. We don't have the ability. So just play all of that down. And also act as though you're not seeing anything wrong with them. It's nothing that they've done wrong. They're not a problem. It's just you're not as capable as they thought you were. And maybe you could even apologize to them and just state that you just couldn't be the person that they needed you to be. So yeah, it does involve a little bit of manipulation, white lies. Unfortunately, in order to protect yourself, you do have to manipulate the narcissist. It's really the only way. Because if you're being open and honest with them, they'll take advantage of that. They'll exploit it for all it's worth. So you've got to use a little bit of manipulation. You've got to take a leaf out of their book. And to really ensure your safety and to protect your future from this narcissist, another thing you want to do is use a little bit of reverse psychology. Because they're going to be devaluing you and triangulating you. So be in agreement for the devaluation. Don't fight it, don't oppose it. As soon as you do that, it becomes a battle. And they'll never give up. They will keep going until they destroy you. So instead, what you want to do is just accept it and be like, okay, yes, maybe I can see where you're coming from. Maybe I can see that you're right. Maybe I'm not that great for you. Maybe I'm not such a wonderful person as you may have thought that I was at the beginning. Just play it all down. Use reverse psychology. Agree with their devaluation instead of fighting or opposing it. And when they triangulate you with someone else, now that can get a little more tricky. Because remember, when they're doing that, they do want that reaction from you. And that can sometimes be what causes them to go off into a new situation with a new supply, where they just forget about you and they leave you behind. But you're then much safer than if they're around you. So in some ways, what you may want to do is go along with it. Use reverse psychology and see it as though, yes, it's in their benefit for them to leave you and move on. Even though you may know that you do have a lot of value to provide to them. And maybe in many ways it could be better for them to be around you. But you want to protect yourself, so go along with it and let them think that what they're doing is better for them by going off the new supply. But then also be aware that they will be paying close attention to your reactions, because that's how they get their supply as well. So they want to know how you're perceiving it. They need you to feel envious or jealous of them moving off into this next situation. They have to feel like they're winning and you're losing. And if they don't feel like they're winning, if they don't feel like you're losing, then they're going to fight harder until they feel like you've lost and they've won. So you need to orchestrate the situation to make them feel like they're winning. Like they're winning by just leaving you alone and not wasting any more time with you. Because this is a big part of it, is with narcissists, it's always a battle. Because you're fighting against it, you're opposing it. When what you really need to do is just stop resisting it. Even though, yes, you may know that what they're saying about you is not true. When you deny or oppose it, then everything just gets worse. It blows out of proportion. And then they start going off these smear campaigns because they want to protect their image. And they want to get you before you get them. They don't want to be exposed. But then also another thing to keep in mind is that you don't want to be too much in agreement with them. Like if they start making accusations about you or blaming you for things that you're not even responsible for, you don't just want to go and agree with it. Instead, just try to confirm their narrative instead and be like, you're not who they thought you were, or you're not as capable as you led them to believe, because that's what they want to think about you. They want to feel like there's nothing wrong with them. But when they make false accusations or they blame you for things, specific things, I would advise against going along with that, because that could be used against you. And they may use that to start a smear campaign against you as well. You have to be very careful when you are leaving a narcissist, because they have such a fragile sense of self, an inflated ego, where any little thing could set them off. So you're going to be constantly walking on eggshells around them. And it can be very tricky, because sometimes it can be like a double bind. It's like no matter which way you go, no matter what you say, what you do, it's still wrong, it's still a problem. They have to feel like they're in control of it. Because otherwise, just any decision you make, anything you say, they're looking at it as though that's a source of power for you. And then also, even if you just lay down and act helpless, then they may see that as a vulnerability that they can make full use of and exploit. So it's really like treading over a minefield. It's very challenging when you're leaving a narcissist. You do have to be very careful. And another thing, one thing you definitely don't want to do is make it seem like by them leaving you, that things are going to be better for you, that you're going to be better off without them. You do not want them to think that way. I know after everything they've done to you, I mean, they may have destroyed your life already. So you may just want to show them. You may want to have the last laugh and go off into a better situation where maybe you've got more money without them. You've got a better job. You've found a new partner who treats you better than they do. You do not want the narcissist to see any of that. You want them to think that things are going worse for you without them. Because otherwise, what are they going to do? Of course, they're going to come back and sabotage it. They'll destroy it all. Because they have to feel like they're winning. And they can't feel like they're winning unless they feel like you're losing. So play it all down. Make them feel like things are going to be worse for you without them. And as though you're not moving on to anything special. Because if they think that you are, then they will try to destroy it. If there's anything of value, anything good, anything better for you, anything that makes them feel like they're missing out, they're losing, they will come back to destroy it. They will ruin it all for you. Because deep down they know they're incompetent, they're no good. They can't build or sustain anything on their own. And things are just going to be so much better for you without them. They know that. Which is why you need to influence them in a way where they see things differently. As though maybe they got it wrong. Maybe you're not that wonderful. You're not that special. You're not that great. You can't just make things appear out of nothing. You can't just make magical things happen. Because that's how they're looking at you now, even while they're devaluing you. They're still keeping you around as a source, and they fear you leaving them. They fear you moving on because they know things are going to get better for you. They've studied you, they've learned you, they know that you're just far better than they are. And they're never going to be on your level, they're never going to be able to accomplish the things that you can. They're aware of that. Because they've been watching you all of this time. They know how skilled, how competent you are. So now, what you have to do is, you have to change their mind about you. But not in a way where you're really just frustrating them and causing a narcissistic injury to where they want to destroy you. You want to do it slowly and gradually over time, just fizzle out. Let them think that they've depleted you, that you're not coming back, that things aren't going to get better for you. Because that's what they do when they think you're all washed up. When they think you're done, you're finished. They're not going to stick around then. They're going to be gone. They'll be out of there. They'll be off with the next person, a new situation. They'll be monkey branching. They'll have their new source lined up. And then they'll be going off, laughing at you, thinking they got the last laugh, thinking they won. And you want them to think that. You have to let go of the ego and just let them think that they've won. Let them think that they got the better of you They defeated you. They got the last laugh. This is what you have to do when you're dealing with a narcissist. Let them think they've got you. They've owned you. They've done you in. They've finished you. Let them think that. Because if they don't think that, then what are they going to do afterwards? Of course, they're going to come back to sabotage you. Or they might never leave. And I know it can be tempting. Of course it can. After someone's ruined your life, after they've done all of these things to you. I mean, you may have had a wonderful future ahead of you after all of the work you put in. And they came in, they abused you, they ruined everything. You may just want to show them, you may want to prove to them that they got it wrong about you. You're so much better than they thought you were. And that you can come back after all of the abuse they did to you. You may want to show them that, you may want to prove them wrong. But I'm telling you, that is the wrong thing to do. When you're dealing with a narcissist, they will come back to destroy it all. This is how the smear campaigns start. This is how they start trying to get you fired from your job. And they're targeting you financially. They may even be targeting your own children as well. Because they feel like they're losing. They think you've got a better situation than they have. They think you're moving on to something better and they're moving on to something worse. And while that may be the case, that may be the truth, don't reveal that to them. Don't let them know that. If they ever see you, you want to have your head down. You want to make them think that things are not going well for you. And that they're doing so much better. Let them be delusional. When they're being delusional, let them. Let them act arrogant. Let them think that they've got the best situation. They've got everything they need and you're stuck, you're deprived. You've got no direction, you don't know what to do with your life. You've given up. Let them think that. That's the best thing you can do. That is the safest possible way to leave a narcissist. It's just to fizzle out. Just pretend to be nobody, nothing. You have to portray yourself differently than how you actually are. It's kind of like, like celebrities when they go out and to avoid being harassed by the paparazzi. What do? They wear a disguise. They might wear like a hat and shades or something. And they travel around in these like these blacked out cars where you can't see who's inside. They're undetectable. That's what you need to be, undetectable to the narcissist. But they cannot detect your supply or the benefits and conveniences that you could otherwise provide to them. You don't want them to see any of that. You do not want them to get their grubby paws on what you got. You worked hard for yourself and for your life. You want to enjoy it. You want to make the most of it. You don't want to give it to someone who does not deserve it. Someone who does not deserve you. Someone who never should have been involved with you. They never should have been around you. They never should have breathed the same air that you breathe. And that is why it's time to put on this disguise, conceal ourselves. We need to be invisible to these narcissists. We need them to overlook us. We need them to look at us and think, oh, you ain't nothing, you ain't that special. This person, this situation, this is more desirable, this is way better than you. That's what you want them to think. Because then they'll just overlook you, they'll forget about you, you won't have to deal with them, you won't have to lose what you would otherwise lose. And you'll be safe, you'll be protected. Don't let them destroy you like they've already destroyed themselves and their own lives. Don't let them destroy your future like they've already destroyed theirs. So yeah, that's the message for today. And I know it's a different concept. I don't think I've talked about really what's the safest way to leave a narcissist. Thank you for the donations. Thank the Lord. I appreciate it. I appreciate all donations, no matter how small. It means a lot to me to see that people appreciate my work and that you're getting something out of it. It's helping you. But yeah, I know it's an interesting concept, but this is what you've got to do. This is how you've got to play it. And I know I get it. It can be so tempting. You just want to show them after everything they did to you, like the nerve that they had to treat you that way, to affect your life, your health in the way that they did, to disrespect you, to treat you like you're nobody, like you're nothing, while they were using and exploiting you. Of course, you just want to go and show them just how great you are, just how better you are than them. Because while that may be the truth, I would advise not letting them know. Don't put on a show for them. Don't let them see your worth. Play it down. They're not deserving of seeing that anyway. Of course they're not, because by recognizing your value, by you revealing that to them, it's like giving $100 bill to a toddler. They're not going to appreciate it. They're not going to take care of it. They're going to destroy it. They'll just tear it up. And this is why the less they see, the less they know about you, the better. They do not need to know how great you are, how wonderful you are. Play it down, minimize it all. That's really the safest way. I'm just looking through the live chat here to see what people are saying. Tammy Medley says, so you're saying change your persona then? Yeah, in a way, what you want to do is have like your own false self, your own false persona that you use only for them. You don't need to show it to anyone else unless you think it might get back to them. Have this false self, this false persona that you use only for the narcissist and anyone mutually involved with them. And you just stay silent. Just act like you're not that capable. You're not that intelligent, you're not that successful. Play it all down. Because otherwise, if they think that you're something great, they're going to want to get involved with you. They're going to want to be around you. And this is why narcissists, they big themselves up. It's why they've got their false self, which they use to tempt and entice you. Because they want you to be involved with them. They want you to be around them. They want you to desire them. But that may be good for them, but it's not good for you. Because it's not a good exchange. You're far more valuable than they are. And they know that. That's why they put on such a show. That lure you in for that reason. Sentinel 87 says it's a good thing if they overlook you. Then you don't get targeted. Exactly, Sentinel. That's the whole point of this message, is that you don't want to be a target for the narcissist. You don't want to be a good source of supply. You don't want to be something that they see as a snack, a meal ticket, a walking ATM, something that they can use. You do not want to be that for them. Or something that they can destroy. Because of course, if they can't use it, what do? They destroy it. So yeah, go undetected. Disguise yourself, conceal yourself. Me D says how to deal with them when they verbally bait you for a reaction. You know, a lot of people say that the best thing to do is to use the grey rock, the observe to absorb. That can be effective, but initially they will ramp up the abuse. Typically it will get worse as they try to provoke a reaction out of you. So you can use the grey rock, it is recommended, but be very careful. Because what can happen in some situations, if they're verbally abusing you, and I've experienced this myself, if they're giving you verbal abuse and they're not getting the reaction they want, they're not satisfied with it, they're going to push you more. They may become physically violent. So I think what can help is if you don't just immediately go cold turkey from the reactions. Think of it like the narcissist is hooked on a drug from you. So you want it to fizzle out. Reduce the doses that you are given to them gradually. And then they may not notice it so much. So initially you might want to give them a little bit of a good reaction, so then just gradually dwindle it down. Then it will be less noticeable, and then the abuse shouldn't ramp up as much. Xana says, grey rocking is a great technique. Be the most boring person you can be. That's it. I mean, ideally, if we had known, we would have been the most boring person right from the start. I'm sure that's what we all would have done. If we knew that was all we had to do to get around all of this and to avoid being targeted by a selfish, abusive narcissist, then that's what we would have done. We would have just concealed ourselves and act like we're nothing special. We're no more different than anyone else. But unfortunately, we thought we met our match, a good person. Someone who was going to be there for us, someone who was going to take care of us. So what did we do? We showed them just how wonderful we are. They took it for granted and they abused and misused us. So yeah, we want to be boring to them. We want to be uninteresting. You may have tons of energy, tons of life, tons to give and share with someone, but you don't want them to know that you have that. Dipanga says, I get it. The narcissist needs to know they can get validation out of creating pain and negative emotions within you. If you get hurt, that they want someone else's attention, they are validated. That's it. You don't want them to know that you can be hurt or that they can get some kind of value out of you. I mean, to them, your pain is their value. You want to keep all of that hidden so then they don't keep pushing on certain reactions. So if they, but then also if they already have it in their minds and they think something of you, like they feel like they're winning by leaving you, and that you're going to lose, you're going to suffer without them. In some ways, you may want to play along with that, encourage them, but not too much, because then something will click in their minds, so they'll want to know, why aren't you so worried about me leaving? But then if they feel like you've just given up and you've got nothing more to give, then they will just leave you alone. Yes, we were all great targets for them, because we're good people. We're kind, giving, generous. We have tons of value. If we didn't have any value, they wouldn't want anything to do with us. That's why they target us, is because they see something they can get out of us. They see something that they can exploit. And there's nothing inherently wrong with seeing the value in someone. Seeing someone who maybe they got a good job and you like that about them, you like that they work hard, they're disciplined, or maybe they're sensible, they have a lot of money, they save it up, or they take good care of themselves, they look good, they're attractive. Of course, there's nothing wrong with liking that and being drawn to that, but just make sure that you have something to give back as well. Like with these narcissists, they want to get involved with us. They want to be around a high value person. someone who has done well for themselves, someone who looks good, someone who had a good upbringing, someone who went to a good school, went to a good college, worked hard all of their life, worked on themselves. They want to be around someone like that, but they're not deserving of it. Because what have they got to bring to the table? And we need to become aware of this, because we're getting involved with people and we leave far worse off than before we got involved with them, because we're more valuable than they are. Otherwise, if they were more valuable, then we would be better off afterwards rather than before. And that's how you know that you may have been involved with someone who you had no business dealing with. You never should have been involved with them, because people are meant to make you better. They're meant to make things better for you, not worse. God, there's some troll comments coming in here. Something about an 80s pop star. I've heard it all. I mean, there's always some strange comments from the trolls. I've heard I look like Eminem. I don't know how anyone could think that way. I mean, how could a mixed race British person with light brown skin and black hair, how could they ever be likened to a white American rapper from New York? Where is the resemblance there? I don't. And an 80s pop star. The only thing I could think is, do I look like Prince? Or I don't know. I prefer to just let everyone be who they are, just let them be their individual selves. Because as 50 Cent has been quoted in saying, our power comes from being ourselves. And I really believe that that is true. Carl Bomber says hello from Australia. Nice to see we have someone from Australia in the chat. Very far away from where I'm from in the UK. I've never actually been to Australia, although I have been to the Philippines, Taiwan, and Japan, which isn't too far away. But yes, I know Australia is a beautiful place. I'd love to go there one day. Thomas Conover says, thanks for all the videos about narcissism and gang stalking. Your videos have been extremely valuable for surviving my own psycho narcissist family. Glad to hear that, Thomas. That's what this is all about. That's why I make these videos. That's why I get on here every day, because I just want to reduce the harm, the pain. You know, there's nothing that brings me more pain than seeing that someone did not reach their potential. Seeing that someone's future was robbed from them. Like, you could have been so much more. You could have had so much more in your life if someone didn't come in and ruin all of that for you, or take it all from you. There's nothing that brings me more pain than that. Because I believe that we all have the right to be the best versions of ourselves. If we worked hard towards that, then of course we do deserve to enjoy the fruits of our labor. So yeah, that's why I do this. That's why I get on here every day. Because I want everyone to be aware of these people. I want everyone away from harm. And that's why I'm very thankful when I read these comments, like from Thomas in the live chat there. I appreciate the encouragement. It lets me know to keep going, despite any hate, any trolls, because I know that what I'm doing is right, what I'm doing is helping people. And although, of course, we don't like it when, it's not a nice thing, when people get divorced, when families break up, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever it is. It's not a nice thing, of course. But unfortunately, that's what has to happen sometimes, because if people are being harmed, then they've got to go. They have to protect themselves, because otherwise what's going to happen? They're going to be stuck. They're going to continue being hurt. And I had to experience that myself. I had to know that although I am a very loyal person, when I'm with someone, I want to stay with them, to where the only way you can protect yourself is by leaving. That's how I know that what I'm doing by making these videos, sharing these messages, it's an achievement, an accomplishment for me. But people are developing the awareness that they're being used, exploited, abused, harmed, they're being lied to, future faked, gaslit. They're waking up and they're seeing that they deserve better treatment. They deserve to be treated with respect, because we all do. Irani says it's a clash of egos. They don't want to focus on them. They use contact sessions to provoke you. Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's all about their ego. They want to feel important to you, because unknowingly you've rejected them. You don't see them how they want to be seen. So now they're not feeling too good about themselves. They want to prove themselves to you. They want to feel important. And that's how it is with a lot of these trolls. I mean, it's all about their ego. They want to put you down and establish some form of superiority over you. And for me, I get triggered by that sometimes. I mean, but for me, it's not so much about myself as it is with them. I mean, I want to have a certain level of importance, of course, because then people will listen to me, they will take my advice, they will do what is best for them in their lives, they will protect themselves. So that's another side of it as well. And some of you may feel like that in your situation where you're trying to protect your children. So you may come across as egotistical, as having a need to feel important because you're trying to stand up for something. It's not just all about yourself, as it is with them. With them, it's just quite literally all about themselves. They want to feel important, special, powerful. But what about everyone else? And that's really what makes us human, is that we don't just care about ourselves, that we do take the needs of other people into consideration. DJ Wrestler asks if I can talk about narcissistic fathers and their sons. I haven't really gone into that in detail, but I do, however, have a playlist of many videos on narcissistic parents. So that's definitely something I recommend. And of course, there will be other YouTubers out there who have made videos specifically on narcissistic fathers and sons, because that is a topic of its own. It really is. Just as with narcissistic mothers and their daughters, there's something with narcissistic fathers and their sons. And also keep in mind that with the narcissistic parent and child of the opposite sex, it can often be quite incestuous. Now, that doesn't always mean sexually, although sometimes it can be that as well. But more than anything, it tends to be this emotional incest, where they're very invasive into your boundaries and your privacy. It's like you never have any space of your own. Steady Pace says, don't worry about trolls. They're just lonely and frustrated. They have to project their issues onto others, just like a narc. They do. They have to project. And when they project, it's because they really have no identity of their own. They don't know who they are. They have no sense of self. They can be a troll when they're on their computer behind a keyboard, but they can't be anything like that around other people in their life. Then they've got to use this the false self. But I believe that what you're seeing when they're so hateful, angry and envious, that's closer to who they actually are. I mean, it's all just a mask more than anything to demand attention to themselves. attention to something that's not even really there. These are people who live double, triple, quadruple lives. They don't even know who they really are. I mean, it could be argued that some people, they may otherwise be shy and introverted, kind of like a covert narcissist, and then they get a kick out of role playing. It's exciting for them to pretend to be something they're not, to put on this act. So that could be a part of it as well. It's kind of like, there's some regular people out there who, behind the scenes, they might enjoy engaging in BDSM, maybe swinging. And that's not really who they are, but it's kind of like role playing. So there are some people out there like that as well. And they're not inherently bad people. It's just they find some kind of excitement in playing this role. And they're underestimating the harm that they're causing to other people. Steady Pace says the narc self-confidence comes from being having a false self. Who needs that? That's it. I mean, it comes from getting reactions, manipulating people. They'll never know what it's like to have this core identity inside of you, where you have these morals and values, where something just means something to you. You have this passion and purpose for no other reason than because you know that it's right and because it's important to you. And because you care about the feelings, needs, and safety of other people. They'll never know what it's like to have that. They'll never know what it's like to wake up every morning and to jump out of bed just because you know that it's another day that you get to make a difference in people's lives. They'll never understand that. They never will. And they'll never be able to see those qualities in you, other than for what they can exploit them for. But for me, that is the best feeling in the world. I couldn't see any purpose in life without that. And I think that's what makes us human. The problem is that we can only interact with these types of people by operating with a false self ourselves. So we can just create a false self to interact with them, or they will impose one upon you, because that's the only way they can interact with you. Because we're from two different worlds. We're completely different people. Someone who's all about themselves, lacks empathy, and then with us, we're more concerned with other people. We may be more codependent, people pleasers. We may engage in fawning. So we're from two completely different worlds. And that's why they can't see us, they can't reach us, we can't reach them for that reason. And I've made videos about that before. I made one video a few years ago titled, "You Can't Be Yourself Around a Narcissist." You can't, it's impossible. They might be able to witness you being yourself with someone else, but they'll never get to directly interact with the real you. You won't even feel comfortable trying to be yourself around them. You'll have to walk on eggshells. And they won't feel comfortable with you being yourself with them. They won't respect your independence or autonomy. They have to break it all down. They have to get you to conform to some narrative that they have created so that they can feel comfortable around you. Lorraine Dan says, narcs don't have self-confidence. They attach to people that have, and that way it makes them look like they have because they mirror that person's strengths. Very well said, Lorraine. And you'll know when you're dealing with a narcissist because just by interacting with them, your confidence gradually gets broken down. And it could be your confidence in good things, in positive things. That all gets broken down. It gets withered away. It cannot exist around them because they're self-serving. They're all about themselves. And of course, if you have confidence in yourself, that doesn't serve them. So you will know when you're around narcissists because your confidence gets broken down. But when you're around someone who does have some level of self-confidence, you will begin to feel more confident in yourself. And that's how I enjoy making these live videos, because many of you do give me a lifeline. You do encourage me. You do give me that confidence, that validation that I need to continue. Even while, of course, when I do make these videos, I get a lot of opposition from narcissists, trolls, because the last thing they want is for you to be confident in yourself. Because with that confidence, things can get better for you. Things can get better for people who are associated with you as well. But it's no good for them because they have no confidence. Ellie Wynn says you can be yourself around them. Just do not truly engage authentically as you would with a safe person. I appreciate your comment there, Ellie, but I feel like you have contradicted yourself in that sentence, because from my point of view, I see it as though if I'm not truly engaging authentically with someone, then I'm not being myself. To be myself, I would have to engage authentically. So that kind of confirms my point of how you just can't be yourself around them. And it is actually very nice to interact with these types of people, because they interject all of these ideas and attitudes into your mind about yourself and about them and other people in the world as well. And you have to go along with their narrative. You have to conform to what they want and to what they want you to think and believe. And all of these things will distort your identity, because you're having to tone yourself down. You're walking on eggshells around them. So gradually you're losing touch with yourself just by interacting with them. Because it's like they don't know who you are. They don't want to know who you are. You need to be around people who know you or who have a desire to learn about you, because that's the only way that you can be yourself. It's very dangerous to interact with these types of people. By doing that, you will begin to lose touch with yourself. And then it gradually gets to a point where it's like you're two different people. You're a different person, have to engage with them over a long period of time. to who you were before. So that's why it's best to limit your contact, go no contact if you can. But also do it safely, leave very carefully. I'll play this video back if you'd like to know how to safely leave a narcissist. Listen to it again. I did leave my disclaimer at the beginning as well, that it does depend on your individual situation and the type of narcissist that you may be dealing with. But from my experience, from my knowledge and research, I do believe that what I've provided to you here, it is the safest possible way to leave a narcissist. Because what you want to do is maneuver around their emotional minefield, avoid setting them off. Just use that reverse psychology, make them think that you're not that great, you're not that special, you can't provide much value to them, and that they're actually better off going elsewhere and forgetting about you. If you do that, then things shouldn't go too bad in most situations, if you do it right. And that's really my goal in this video, is to present to you a way to just minimize the harm. Because I mean, that's really what they do. They cause as much harm, as much damage as they possibly can to people's lives. And then they feel better about themselves. They feel like they're a winner, you're a loser. It's just this childlike mentality that they have because they never felt they were good enough. But yeah, I hope I've done this title justice for you. If I have, you can give it a thumbs up down below. Let me know that it was helpful to you. It'll help the YouTube algorithm as well. Hit subscribe and click all notifications to be notified when I go live in the future. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Donations are greatly appreciated, no matter how small. You can donate to my PayPal. It is paypal.me/Narc Survivor. If you'd like to book a one-on-one, I am available for you. Just head to my website to book a session. It is narcsurvivor.co.uk. And also you can follow me on my Instagram. I've just been posting some quotes on there. My Instagram is Narc Survivor YouTube. Thank you all for joining me on another Narc Survivor live video. I appreciate you all, and I look forward to speaking with you in another live video very soon.